The Roman Republic was built on a deep, almost biological hatred of monarchs. For centuries, its citizens lived by a single foundational rule: no kings. When Julius Caesar accumulated too much power and began acting like a dictator, the Senate triggered a deadly immune response, stabbing him 23 times on the Senate floor. That assassination in 44 BC created a massive power vacuum. When Caesar's will was read, it named a shocking heir, a sickly, unknown 19-year-old named Gaius Octavius. Octavian intended to claim his adoptive father's absolute power, but he faced an obvious dilemma. If he walked into the Senate and declared himself ruler, he would meet the exact same bloody end as Caesar. To survive, the teenager devised a strategy. To conquer the Republic, he wouldn't fight its traditions. He would hollow them out from the inside, then wear them as a disguise. Before Octavian could become a subtle politician, he operated as a ruthless, factional warlord. He raised private armies without legal authority and funded his ambitions through proscriptions, state-sanctioned hit lists to murder rivals and seize their estates. To achieve total military supremacy, he had to win a massive civil war. This silver Roman coin depicts the last major rivals he eliminated, Mark Antony and the Egyptian queen Cleopatra. By annexing Egypt directly, Octavian captured an entire nation's treasury, giving him the personal wealth to pay off the legions and fund his political machine. By 30 BC, Octavian was the undisputed military master of the world. But military force alone couldn't prevent an assassination by a Senate still desperate to restore the Republic. In January 27 BC, Octavian performed a piece of high-stakes political theater. He walked into the Senate and announced he was resigning all of his emergency warlord powers. By creating the illusion that he was returning control to a free republic, he manipulated the entire room. The terrified, sycophantic senators begged him to stay and retain a leadership role. Octavian agreed to a compromise. This map shows the Roman territories. He offered to govern only the chaotic frontier provinces. Those border regions, Gaul, Spain, Syria, and Egypt, housed 20 legions. By taking the dangerous jobs, he legally secured a monopoly on military violence. As a reward for this sacrifice, the Senate bestowed a new title upon him, Augustus, meaning the revered. It carried deep religious weight, further distancing him from the toxic label of dictator. The first settlement successfully disguised an absolute military dictatorship as a reluctant public service. But the first settlement had a flaw. Augustus was still holding the office of consul every single year. It was too obvious a consolidation of power, and it angered the traditionalists. In 23 BC, he executed a second maneuver. He abruptly resigned the consulship entirely, abandoning the highest office to appease the old guard. In exchange for stepping down, he negotiated two invisible powers. First was tribunicia potestas, granting him an absolute veto over the Senate. Second was maius imperium, giving him overriding military authority over any other Roman governor or general anywhere in the empire. Despite holding this dictatorial authority, he insisted on careful public branding. He refused to be called king, asking only to be addressed as princeps, meaning first citizen. Augustus now held the absolute power of a king, but he remained legally bulletproof, because he held none of the traditional titles that triggered the Republic's immune system. By 14 AD, the 75-year-old Augustus was dying of natural causes in his bed. He had outlived his enemies and overseen decades of stability known as the Pax Romana. He had spent those decades engineering the physical infrastructure of a new society, boasting that he found Rome a city of bricks and left it a city of marble. He also built its institutional pillars, establishing Rome's first municipal police and fire departments, and embedding the Praetorian Guard, his personal army, into the fabric of the state. But the system was truly secured by time. By the time Augustus died, the entire generation of Romans who actually remembered the freedom of the old republic was already dead. Augustus's career reveals that while violence can seize power, only a facade of legitimacy can sustain it. He demonstrated that the most durable autocracies are those that hollow out democratic institutions from within, leaving the labels intact while the machinery beneath them is repurposed for absolute control.